friends, Miss Studebaker here. I am making this video to help my friends who are doing math at home or parents who are trying to help my friends do their math at home. So I'm going to help you with some subtracting with regrouping. I'm going to start with a word problem because that's going to encompass everything that you would have to do with a problem with regrouping. So I'm going to read the word problem to you and then I'm going to help you solve. Here we go. Jenna goes to Disney World. There are 21 rides Jenna wants to ride. Jenna rode 15 rides so far. How many more rides does Jenna have left? Now, I tell my students whenever we're working with a word problem, always write notes on the side. This is going to help you set up the problem that you're working with. So I go sentence by sentence every single time, step by step. Okay, Jenna goes to Disney World. Is there anything I need to pull out there? No, we move on to the next sentence. There are 21 rides Jenna wants to go on. Well, 21 is a number and it's in relation to the number of rides she wants to ride. So I'm gonna note that on the side, 21, okay? Then it says, Jenna rode 15 rides. Okay, that's important to me too. So I'm gonna put 15. Then it says, how many more rides does Jenna have left? Okay, so how many more is a big keyword for me to know how many more, how many less. I'm comparing two things, so that means I'm always going to subtract. Now, right here, I would already have my problem set up for me before I even started. However, this might not always be the case. You might just have the numbers and you might not know what sign because of whatever clues or hints or whatnot. But when we're subtracting, we always want to make sure that the bigger number is on top. So sometimes if you do not get a word problem, the book might say subtract 21 and 15. You're going to need to know that 21 goes on the top and 15 goes on the bottom. Always, no matter what, because 21 is the greater number. Okay, and when I tell them to set up their problem, I tell them to do number, line, and then their sign, which is subtraction. Okay, say that we got two numbers from the problem. Now I'm going to set up my board so that I can make sure that I'm ready to solve this problem. So I'm going to separate it into two pieces. On one side is where I'm going to draw my picture. So I'm going to have my tens and my ones. Okay. Then on the other side is where I'm going to set up my problem. So I'm going to have my two numbers. This is if I need to regroup at the top. Make these even. Okay, if I need to regroup. Okay, and then remember my two numbers that we pulled out of the word problem were 21 and 15. Okay, now I haven't set up my problem yet. Okay, so now I know 21 and 15 are important. I wrote my notes on the side. I also know that I'm going to subtract. Okay, great. So from here, how do I set up my problem? Well, Miss Studebaker told me that 21 always is going to have to go on top because it's the greater number. Whatever is the greater number out of the two numbers that I pulled out of my word problem, that's always going to go on top when I do number, line, sign. So 21 is the greater number. So 21, there's number, line, sign. Get it right every time, okay? So I'm going to erase these notes just so that they don't confuse you, but they can leave this on the side. I always say to write the notes because I want them to pull the information out of the word problem first so that they know what they're working with before we go ahead and set up our problem. So we figured out 21 is the greater number, 15 is our smaller number, and these are the numbers we're working with. And we want to find out how many more rides does Jenna need to ride in order to ride all the rides she wanted to ride at Disney. Okay, now I set up my problem, okay? When I'm going to solve, the first thing I need to do is I always start, again, with the greater number. So I'm going to draw a picture of my greater number over here on my drawing side. So 21. 21 has two tens and one in it. Okay, and I'm subtracting 15. Now I don't want to draw 15 down here again, because if I draw 15 again and subtract 15, I'm still going to end up with 21. When we're subtracting, we want to take away from the total number on the top. So I'm not going to draw 15. Okay, from 21, I need to take 15 away. So to start doing that, I'm going to look in the ones place. Okay, when we look in the ones place, technically I'm trying to perform 1 minus 5. Can I take 5 ones away from 1 1? No, I cannot. So what I'm going to have to do is regroup a 10. So I'm going to circle one of the 10s that I'm going to regroup. Then I'm going to cross it out because it will no longer belong here. And I'm going to regroup it into my ones place. Inside 110, there are 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When you're drawing your ones over here, I want you to stack 5 and then 5 more. Staying organized like this will help me solve my problem and count up what's left over once I've crossed out and subtracted things. So write clearly, write big, and when you're writing a 10, 5 and then 5 more. Okay, so I crossed out my 10, I regrouped into 10 ones. Okay, and now I can go ahead and subtract. But before I do that, I want to represent what we have over here now. Whenever I do something to this side, I always need to do something to this side. So we are no longer performing 21 minus 15. Now in the ones place, we don't have just 1 1 anymore. So we're gonna cross that out. Now we have actually 11 ones. So I'm gonna put 11 here on the top. Okay, then I need to show what we're representing in the tens place as well. We don't have just two 10s anymore. So I'm gonna cross that out. Now we actually only have 1 10 in the tens place. So I'm gonna put a 1 over there. Now I can go ahead and subtract. Okay, 11 minus 5. Again, we're always gonna start with that ones place. So 11 minus 5, I'm gonna go ahead and cross out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, how many are left over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you just automatically know that this is already 5 because remember, we stacked it nice and neat. So 5 and 1 more makes 6. Okay, so 11 minus 6 ones, 11 minus 5 ones equals my 6 that's left over. Okay, then we're gonna go to the tens place and subtract down. We have 1 minus 1. So 110, take away 110, we're left with 0. Okay, with 0, sometimes can be a little bit tricky. I tell them that they can put 0 as a placeholder if they'd like, and just to know that the answer is 6. But you really don't have to write anything because nothing also represents 0. I'm going to do one more problem a lot faster without less explanation so that you can see the process of how I'm actually solving these problems in class with them each time. Okay, here we go. And again, I'm going to do a word problem so that you can see the process of me taking notes. So the word problem is this. Mr. Sims has a box of 44 erasers. I'm going to go sentence by sentence. So a box of 44 erasers. I'm going to write my notes on the side. 44. Okay. And I might put E for erasers. Okay. And then it says he gives 28 erasers to his students. Well, he gives is telling me to subtract. It's telling me I'm losing something. He gives. Okay, that's going to tell me subtraction. He gives 28 erasers. He gives 28 away. So I'm going to put 28 down here. Those are my notes. And I might put E there, okay, to his students. How many erasers does Mr. Sims have now? Show how you solve the problem. Okay, now that I've taken my notes, I'm going to reread one more time just to make sure that I understand what I'm supposed to do. Okay, Mr. Sims has a box of 44 erasers. Okay, I have that there. He gives 28 erasers to his students. Okay, he gives away 28. How many erasers does he have now? Okay, I need to find out how many he has now. So if he had 44 and he gave 28 away, I must be subtracting. Okay, so even if I didn't know what order to put these numbers in, what I would do is look at what numbers I have and say, which is the greater number? Is 44 greater or is 28 greater? I know that 44 is the greater number, so I'm gonna put that on the top when I do number, and then the next one, number, line, sign. Get it right every time. And again, I'm gonna erase my notes so that it's not in the way for you guys, but it's okay to leave these on the side when you're doing this at home. Okay, so number, line, sign. Okay, perfect. Now, next step, whenever I'm going to solve, I always start with the greater number. Here we go. So I have 44. In 44, there are 4 tens. And how many ones? 4 ones. Wonderful. Now, what is my next step? Well, I'm going to always look in the ones place to begin solving. So go ahead and look in the ones place. I am subtracting 4 minus 8 ones. Okay, I can't take 8 ones away from 4 ones. So what do I need to do? Well, I'm going to have to regroup a 10. So I will take this 10 and I'm going to cross it out because it no longer belongs there. And I'm going to regroup it into the ones place. When I draw my circles, I'm going to draw them nice and big, and I'm going to make sure that they are clear and straight so that I can easily see what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop, and then go to the next line. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's my 10 ones that I regrouped. Perfect. Okay, now before I start solving down, I need to make sure that my problem represents what's over here now. So I no longer have 4 ones in the ones place. Now I have 10 plus 4, which is 14 ones in all. Okay, and I no longer have 4 tens in the tens place, so I'm going to cross that out. Now we actually only have 3 tens in the tens place. Now that this represents what's going on over here, I can solve down. So 14 minus 8. Okay, let's solve that over here. This is 14. We're going to take away 8. Well, I know that this is 10, and 2 less than that would be 8. So I'm going to leave 2 out, and I'm going to take away the rest of these here. Okay, there's my 8 that I took away. And then I'm going to count whatever's left over to find out how much I have left. So 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 14 minus 8 is equal to 6 ones. Okay, but are we done? No, we still have another step because we need to solve in the tens place. So I have 3 tens minus 2 tens. So I have 3 tens here. I'm going to take away 2, 1, and 2. How many tens are left over? Only 1. So therefore, 44 minus 28 is equal to 16. So this is the exact same process you're going to follow with every single problem, whether it's a word problem or not. It might just give you the digits, or it might set up the problem for you in which you could skip the first 2 steps. No, but we always want to follow the same process. You go with the greater number, you draw it out, then you're going to have to regroup if you don't have enough in the ones place to subtract. Okay, and then you need to make sure before you start solving that you write what is represented in the picture over here if we regrouped. Okay, super important step is the crossing out and understanding that we no longer have only 4 ones here. Now we have 14 because we regrouped. If we skip this step, then we're still stuck doing 4 minus 8, and it never changes. Okay, so we have to do this step. We have to cross out the 4 and make sure we turn it into a 14, and we have to cross out the 4 tens and make sure we turn it into 3 tens because we regrouped 1 10 into 10 ones. Major step there. Okay, and then once you've done this, you just subtract like normal. Okay. All right, here we go. Last problem. And for this one, I'm going to do another word problem so you can see all of the steps. And again, less guided. So I'm looking for you to respond from the comfort of your own home. Here we go. So the word problem is, there are 34 chickens in the barn. So first thing you gotta do, write your notes. What are you gonna write? Good, 34 for 34 chickens. Okay, 34C. Okay, there are 34 chickens in the barn. If 16 chickens go outside into the yard, how many chickens will still be in the barn? Okay, if 16 chickens go outside, so there were 34, then 16 are gonna leave. They're gonna go outside. So I'm gonna subtract, okay? Now, even if I didn't know what order to put these numbers in, how do I set up my problem? I know that I'm working with the numbers 34 and 16, and then I'm going to subtract. How do I know which number goes on top? Right, the greater number always goes on top. In this case, 34 is the greater number. So when I set up my problem, if 34 is greater, it's gonna go first, and then 16 is the lesser number, so it'll go second. So number, there we go. Line, sign, get it right every time. Okay, again, erasing my notes just so that I have space, but it's totally fine to leave your notes on the side, and I want to see them when you're solving your problems. Okay, so now we can go ahead and set up our problem. We have number, line, sign. We figured out what order. Great. Now, what is our next step? We always start with the greater number again, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw it out. So I need to write how many 10s and how many 1s. So how many 10s are in 34? Right, 3. 1, 2, 3. And how many 1s are in the number 34? Right, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice, big, clear, and spaced out, so I have room to work. Okay, then I'm going to subtract 16. Wonderful. Next step, I'm always gonna start with the ones place. Good job. When I start subtracting, I'm always going to start with the ones place. What am I subtracting? Good. 4 minus 6. Okay. Can I take 6 away from 4 in the ones place right now? No, I can't. I only have 4 ones. So what do I need to do? Very good. Regroup a 10. So we're going to regroup a 10. I'm going to cross it out because it no longer belongs there, and draw an arrow to the ones place. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. Start with the next line. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice, neat, and organized. I'm ready to solve my problem. Okay, so I did something to this side. Now I need to do something where? What is my next step? Very good. Now I need to do something to this side. I'm going to need to do my crossing out so that I can represent what's happening over here. Okay, so we no longer have 4 ones anymore. How many ones are in the ones place now? Right, 14. And I no longer have 3 10s in the tens place now. How many 10s are there? Right, 2. Okay, now I can go ahead and solve. And again, we always start with the ones place. Very good. So let's subtract. 14 minus 6. Okay, here we go. 14 minus 6. Well, I know this line here is 5. So I can just take those out. That's 5. And then I'll take 1 more so that I can take away 6. Okay, then I'm just going to add up whatever I have left over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm left with 8 ones. So 14 minus 6 is 8. Okay, am I done? No, right. What do I need to do next? Yes, subtract the 10s. Okay, so I have 2 10s minus 1 10. Okay, here's my 2 10s. Let's take 1 10 away. How many are left over? Very good, 1. So therefore, 34 minus 16 equals 18. Wonderful job. So every time that we solve our math problems with regrouping, we're gonna follow the exact same process every single time.